Morning Majority with Brian Wilson, Mary Catherine Ham, and Brian Neiman on 630.
WMAL.
6:07 on WMAL on a Friday morning. We've got Stephen Bannon coming up in the show about 2 hours from now. He's the guy who made the Sarah Palin film.
I'm really looking forward to that. I mean, that's going to be, there's a lot of talk about that in the days ahead.
Yeah, he'll join us at 8:06. We'll ask him, how he filmed it and why he wanted to get involved. Juan Williams, see him on Fox News all the time. Juan joins us at 7:36. So a lot to do here on the Morning Majority. Peter Morici joins us now, University of Maryland economist.
No, and that's just the beginning of the Peter Morici story. I mean, every time I look up on the TV right now, I see Dr. Morici and his bow tie looking very sharp, and he's now a national spokesman.
That's right.
For Kyocera.
Make sure you get that right.
That's right. He'll get it straightened for us. Boy, I never imagined you as a salesman of such national prominence.
Well, I'm really disappointed that you'd say that, Brian. After interviewing me all these years, I'm a very dynamic guy. I've been selling you Peter Morici ideas for the last 20 years.
I tell you, I think you're pretty good at it.
I do too.
I think you should be the next Billy Hayes. I mean, forget the Billy Mays.
Well, I was hoping that you would think of me more in terms of, say, Ben Stein than Billy Hayes. What I really would like to do is a game show.
Me too.
And
work that out. We'll do it together.
Bring back Hollywood Squares, and I could be the crazy guy in the middle.
Tic-tac-toe. I want to be the new Wink Martindale.
Okay.
With the dragon.
Where do they get names like that?
I don't know.
How would you like to go through life being called Wig Martindale?
No, Wink.
Wink. Excuse me, Wink Martindale. My goodness.
No, it's not a bad name. Not a bad name at all. All right, so there's all this doom and gloom all of a sudden, Peter. Is it real? I mean, the data doesn't look good. I mean, you tell me how bad it seems to be out there for this economy.
Well, we just didn't fix what was broken after the crisis. We didn't fix banking. Right now they're making lots of money on commodities trading, and lo and behold, there's a new investigation cheating pension funds on foreign exchange trades. Now they're going after the money of school teachers in Iowa. They didn't fix the trade deficit with China. Our dependence on foreign oil continues to grow, and I've written, as you know, over the years that these are the things that are strangling demand for what Americans make. And therefore, if there's not demand, corporations can have all the cash in the world. They're going to hire people to make light bulbs that can't be sold in America. It's all coming home to roost.
Well, let me play a cut. This is Mitt Romney on the campaign trail yesterday, and you tell me if you think he's right about this.
When he took office, the economy was in recession, and he made it worse. And you made it last longer.
We're talking about Barack Obama, obviously. Is Mitt Romney right about that when it comes to Barack Obama and the economy?
Pretty much so, yeah. I mean, think about it. We have the world's largest stimulus package, $1.6 trillion deficit. And yet the economy is growing at less than 2% a year, and unemployment claims are rising and all the rest. So much of what the money spent was on progressive hobby horses, electric cars. The Volt is an iota on the General Motors balance sheet. They're still dependent on Escalades to make money. We didn't spend the stimulus money very well, and in some cases we spent it in ways that retarded jobs creation rather than accelerating it. He didn't fix the banks. Instead, he paid off his pals up there on Wall Street. People like Viker and Pandon are still in their jobs after making hundreds of millions of dollars losing the bank's money.
As we look at these grim headlines, and the other day I said, I looked at Drudge, and it was, we are on the verge of a Great Depression, and all of the economic data does look a little grim. I think a lot of people sort of wondering about, well, what do I need to do to protect myself? I mean, really, it boils down for most people, how do I protect that 401k? How do I not lose a lot of money if things go south?
Well, you've got to balance things depending on your age. I mean, you can't put all your money into cash, but if you're an old guy like me, 63 years old, you better have 40% of your assets in cash, and you better have enough cash, or near cash, Treasury security type investments and things like that, so as to carry you for about 10 years, because we are facing a very long period. Years ago, I went down to Chile after Allende, and we were about 10 years out from his removal, and I was amazed at how so much of the damage that he had done was still there. The damage done by the health care legislation last year is so corrosive and will be so enduring that even if repealed tomorrow, won't go away for a long time. Also, we haven't dealt with the problem. We pay $8,000 per person for health care in the United States. The Germans pay $4,000. I mean, the Germans aren't falling over and dying. They're not driving to the United States to get operations or like the Canadians or anything. I mean, what does it tell you? It tells you we are doing it badly. Well, badly. Now, and by the way, Ryan giving old folks vouchers is absolutely silly.
All right, we had that conversation the other day with Lanny Davis, who said essentially that he was the Republicans are abolishing Medicare by doing that. Would you consider that abolishing Medicare? I know you're. I know you've never been a big fan of Ryan's plan with the vouchers with Medicare, but is it really abolishing Medicare?
He's not going to abolish it. What's going to happen is they're going to have to give people successively larger vouchers as the drug companies just view it as one more opportunity to charge Americans 2, 3, 6, 12 times as much as they charge the Germans. I mean, the drug business in America, the health insurance business in America, are suffering from the same corrosive culture of basically greed and selfishness that are the mantra of Jamie Dimon and Vikram Pandit up in New York, the leaders of American banking. I mean, they throw the world into the great abyss, and then they pay themselves $20 million a year. It's the same thing with the drug manufacturers. I mean, it won't destroy Medicare. It'll just make it unaffordable.
You sound like an anti-capitalist all of a sudden. I mean, isn't it important to make money?
I'm not an anti-capitalist.
I know you're not.
Markets have to function with some restraint. And we all need to exercise restraint in what we do, just as like you exercise restraint in what you say on the radio.
Sure,
and
sometimes.
We're not getting that.
But that comes from within. Are you saying that there needs to be more regulation?
Well, if people do not behave responsibly and they are in positions to damage everyone else, then you do need to regulate them. It wasn't the problem that we weren't regulating enough on Wall Street. We were regulating very badly. Give you a good point on this. Sarbanes-Oxley was to wipe out accounting fraud. The securities crisis we had in 2009 was fundamentally an accounting fraud. They moved these securities into offshore vehicles, what we call structured investment vehicles. Mm-hmm. They told us they weren't claims on the balance sheets of the banks, but they were. It was an accounting fraud. Now, Sarbanes-Oxley has made initial public offerings so expensive in the United States. This was documented in the Journal last week. As compared to other countries, we are losing that business. So we're paying for the regulation, but we're not getting it. Why? Look at who runs Treasury. Does anyone honestly think that Tim Geithner is any match for Jamie Dimon?
No.
There you go.
But what are you going to do? I mean, Jamie Dimon's not going to take that. We had Hank Paulson from Goldman Sachs in, and he didn't do much better.
And we put the fox in charge of the hen house. It's time for somebody like Joe Kennedy to go up there and clean it up. When those guys came begging at the Fed's door, there would have been a new compensation policy on Wall Street if I had been Ben Bernanke. If they are going to be like the electric company, we can't let the electric company fail because Washington would die without air conditioning.
Right.
Then these guys, if they are in a no-fail situation, then they have to be regulated like the electric company.
Mm. All right. Before we let you go, job numbers come out today. What's a good number, and what do you expect?
Well, I'm expecting something between 100 and 150,000 after what we saw. And, boy, I'm not that confident in that forecast, to be honest. But anything less than 400,000 jobs a month is bad because we need 400,000 jobs a month, and we should be getting them by this time to bring unemployment down to 6% over 3 years. We're just not getting that number of jobs because of the things we began this conversation with. Mm-hmm. The president shutting down drilling in the Gulf, investing in fanciful electric cars and solar panels instead of things that would work right now. The failure to stand up to China. The man said he could do things about China's currency if China didn't act when he met the premier last October at the UN, and now he's not acted. China has called the president's bluff, and the president has stepped up to the podium without the brass. Mm-hmm. Okay?
Right.
If we don't fix health care instead of just piling more money on it or abdicating responsibility, like the great abdicator, Mr. Ryan, we're not going to get out. Those things have to be addressed now, or America will fail. In fact, America, if you haven't looked outside lately, is failing.
All right, Peter. We'll leave it on that note, unfortunately, and we'll.
I'm hosting.
I know you're hosting 4 to 7. You'll be on, and hopefully it won't end with America's failing.
And we'll see him in endless commercials.
But
the truth is
around at 7:05.
All right, thanks. Always good to talk to you, Peter.
Take care.
Peter Morici, University of Maryland professor of economics. You can listen to him 4 o'clock tomorrow. He's hosting the Saturday show 4 to 7 here on